Staff Sergeant Maya Chen fumbled with her rifle strap for the third time in 5 minutes, the weapon clattering against her tactical vest as she tried to adjust the length. The other soldiers in the briefing tent exchanged glances, some rolling their eyes as she dropped her field manual onto the dusty ground. "This is her first real deployment," Corporal Jenkins whispered to Private Martinez, shaking his head as Maya scrambled to collect her scattered gear. "She barely made it through basic training." Maya's hands trembled slightly as she picked up the manual, her face flushed with embarrassment. The mission briefing continued around her, but she seemed lost, constantly checking and rechecking her equipment with the nervous energy of someone completely out of their depth. Squad leader Thompson watched her with growing concern. Command had assigned this rookie to his experienced team for a high-stakes reconnaissance mission in hostile territory. The grasslands they would be crossing were known for concealed enemy positions, and every team member needed to perform flawlessly. "Where in the world are you watching this from, and what time is it there? It's amazing how we're all connected, sharing these moments across different continents and time zones." Maya continued to struggle with basic equipment checks, her inexperience apparent to everyone in the tent. What none of them could see were the faded scars on her arms, carefully hidden beneath her sleeves, or the way her eyes automatically catalogued every exit and potential threat in the room with the instincts of someone who had survived far more than basic training. The pre-dawn air was thick with tension as the squad prepared for insertion. Maya struggled with her helmet strap, the chin guard sitting awkwardly against her jaw. She fumbled with the night vision mount, nearly dropping the expensive equipment twice before finally getting it secured. "Thompson, I'm not sure about this," Sergeant Williams muttered, nodding toward Maya as she tried to figure out her radio headset. "She's going to get us all killed out there." Maya appeared oblivious to their concerns, focused entirely on her gear checklist. She held it with shaking hands, cross-referencing each item multiple times as if she had never done this before. Her movements were clumsy and uncertain, a stark contrast to the fluid efficiency of her teammates. The mission parameters were clear: infiltrate enemy territory through the tall grasslands, gather intelligence on weapon caches, and extract without detection. The terrain would provide natural concealment, but it also meant they could easily become separated or lost. Have you ever been in a situation where everyone doubted your abilities before you even had a chance to prove yourself? Sometimes the people around us see only what's on the surface. Maya finally managed to get her equipment secured, though not without dropping her compass and requiring help from Jenkins to properly attach her tactical light. As they moved toward the insertion point, her awkward gait and constant equipment adjustments made it clear to everyone that this soldier was completely unprepared for what lay ahead in the dangerous grasslands. The helicopter touched down in a cloud of dust and rotor wash, depositing the squad at the edge of the vast grassland. Maya was the last to disembark, nearly tripping over her own feet as she stepped onto the uneven ground. The tall grass swayed in the morning breeze, creating a sea of green that stretched endlessly in all directions. "Keep it tight, people," Thompson commanded through his headset. "Chen, stay close to Jenkins. Don't wander off." Maya nodded enthusiastically, but within minutes she had already fallen behind the patrol formation. Her boots caught on hidden roots and rocks, causing her to stumble repeatedly. The metallic clinks of her poorly secured equipment echoed across the otherwise silent landscape. "Jesus Christ," Martinez whispered harshly to Williams. "She's making enough noise to wake the dead. Every hostile within 5 clicks knows we're here." The squad moved deeper into enemy territory, their tactical formation constantly disrupted by Maya's inability to maintain proper spacing. She lagged behind, struggled to keep up with their pace, and seemed completely overwhelmed by the challenging terrain. Thompson felt his frustration mounting with each passing minute. This was supposed to be a stealth mission, but Maya's bumbling presence made silence impossible. Her heavy breathing crackled through the radio, and her constant adjustments to gear created an endless symphony of amateur mistakes. The grasslands offered perfect concealment for experienced soldiers, but Maya appeared incapable of using the natural cover effectively, often standing too tall or moving at the wrong moments. The first shot cracked across the grassland like thunder, sending the squad diving for cover. Muzzle flashes erupted from multiple concealed positions as enemy fire rained down on their location. Thompson screamed orders through his radio while bullets whined overhead, clipping the tall grass around them. Contact front. Multiple shooters. Jenkins, get on that ridge line. Maya had been trailing 20 meters behind when the ambush began. In the chaos of diving for cover, she completely disappeared from sight, swallowed by the sea of grass. Her panicked voice crackled briefly over the radio before cutting to static. "I'm hit. I think I'm hit," came her terrified transmission, followed by the sound of her equipment clattering as she presumably fell. "Where is Chen?" Thompson shouted between bursts of return fire. "Williams, do you have eyes on our rookie?" "Negative. She went down somewhere behind us." Williams replied, his rifle chattering as he engaged targets to their front. More enemy positions opened fire, creating a deadly crossfire that pinned the squad in place. The grassland that had seemed like perfect concealment now felt like a trap. Maya's radio remained silent, her last known position somewhere in the maze of tall grass behind them. Martinez tried to spot her location through his scope but saw only endless waves of green vegetation. The rookie had vanished completely, likely wounded or worse, leaving the team one soldier short in the middle of a coordinated enemy assault that was rapidly closing in on their position. The enemy fire intensified, forcing the squad deeper into a natural depression in the grassland. Thompson counted at least 6 different muzzle flashes surrounding their position. They were completely boxed in with nowhere to run. "We're pinned down hard." He radioed to command. "Request immediate air support." "Negative on air support," came the crackling reply. "All birds are committed elsewhere. You're on your own." Jenkins clutched his wounded shoulder, blood seeping through his tactical vest. Martinez was down to his last magazine, and Williams kept glancing nervously at the grass where Maya had disappeared, expecting to see her body any moment. "They're moving to flank us," Williams reported grimly, spotting movement through the vegetation on their left side. "We've got maybe 10 minutes before they overrun this position." The situation was deteriorating rapidly. Without Maya to watch their six, the enemy could approach from behind undetected. Thompson felt the weight of command crushing down on him as he realized they might not make it home. Think about those moments when everything seems impossible, when you're facing odds that feel overwhelming. Sometimes that's exactly when the unexpected happens, when someone steps up in ways you never imagined possible. The grassland around them rustled ominously in the wind, enemy voices growing closer from multiple directions. Thompson checked his ammunition one more time, knowing they were running out of options fast. The rookie was gone, and they were about to be overrun. Williams pressed his back against the earthen wall of their shallow depression, his hands shaking as he inserted his final magazine. The enemy voices were getting closer, coordinating their assault in a language none of them recognized. Death was approaching from all sides. "Thompson, we need to move now or we're all dead," Martinez whispered urgently, his face pale with the realization of their situation. "Move where?" Thompson snapped back. "They've got us surrounded. There's nowhere to go." Jenkins groaned softly, his wounded shoulder making it difficult to maintain his firing position. The blood loss was making him dizzy, and his aim was becoming increasingly unsteady. They were down to 3 effective fighters against an unknown number of enemy combatants. The radio crackled with distant chatter from other units engaged in their own battles. No help was coming. Command had written them off as casualties in a larger strategic picture they couldn't see from their grass-covered grave. Have you ever witnessed a moment when everything changed in an instant, when the impossible suddenly became possible? Sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. Enemy movement was visible now through the grass, dark shapes advancing methodically toward their position. Thompson estimated they had less than 5 minutes before the final assault began. He thought about Maya's body somewhere in the grass behind them, another casualty of war, another soldier who would never make it home to family and friends who believed in her. The first enemy sniper fell without a sound. One moment he was lining up his shot from a concealed position 30 meters to their east, the next moment he simply crumpled into the grass like a puppet with cut strings. His rifle clattered softly against a hidden rock. What the hell was that? Martinez whispered, his eyes scanning the grassland frantically for any sign of what had happened. Thompson held up his hand for silence, straining to hear any movement in the tall vegetation around them. The enemy voices had stopped their coordinated chatter, replaced by confused shouting as they tried to understand what had happened to their sniper. A second muzzle flash went dark on their northern flank. Another enemy position fell silent, the shooter eliminated with surgical precision before he could fire another round. The remaining hostile forces began calling out to their missing comrades, their voices tinged with growing alarm. "Did you see that?" Williams breathed, his voice barely audible. "Someone's out there taking them down." "But who?" Jenkins managed through gritted teeth, still clutching his wounded shoulder. "Maya's gone, and we're all pinned down here. We all have hidden depths, hidden strengths that others never see until the moment demands everything we have. Sometimes the person you least expect becomes the hero of the story." Thompson felt a chill run down his spine as he realized something extraordinary was happening in the grass around them. The rookie everyone had written off was somehow still alive, and she was systematically eliminating their attackers with lethal efficiency. The third enemy position went silent with the same eerie precision. A brief muzzle flash in the distance, then nothing but the whisper of wind through grass. The hostile forces were being picked off one by one with clinical efficiency that spoke of professional training far beyond anything a rookie should possess. Thompson watched through his scope as another enemy fighter simply disappeared from view, eliminated before he could even scream. The remaining hostiles were panicking now, their coordinated assault dissolving into confused retreat as they realized they were being hunted by an invisible predator. There, Martinez pointed to a section of grass that seemed to ripple against the natural flow of the wind. "Something's moving through there like a ghost." The grass bent and swayed in patterns that suggested deliberate movement, but whoever was creating the disturbance remained completely hidden. Enemy radio chatter became frantic as they tried to coordinate against a threat they couldn't see or locate. Williams felt his hands stop shaking for the first time since the ambush began. Someone was out there systematically destroying their attackers with the kind of precision that took years of specialized training to develop. This wasn't random luck or desperate amateur fighting. Another enemy position fell silent on their western flank. The shooter had been eliminated before he could fire a single round in retaliation. Thompson began to understand that they were witnessing something extraordinary, something that would change everything he thought he knew about their missing squad member who had vanished into the grass. A shadow rose slowly from the tall grass 40 meters to their south, moving with fluid precision that defied everything they thought they knew about human movement. The figure advanced through the vegetation like liquid mercury, each step calculated and silent despite the dense undergrowth. Thompson's breath caught in his throat as he recognized the tactical vest and equipment configuration. It was Maya, but this wasn't the clumsy rookie who had fumbled with her gear that morning. This was someone else entirely, someone who moved through hostile territory like death itself. She flowed between enemy positions with surgical precision, her rifle an extension of her body as she engaged targets with methodical efficiency. Each shot was placed with mathematical accuracy, each movement designed to maximize lethality while maintaining complete concealment from remaining hostiles. "Holy shit," Martinez breathed, watching through his scope as Maya eliminated another enemy fighter without breaking stride. That's not the same person who couldn't figure out her helmet strap. The transformation was complete and terrifying. Gone was the nervous, incompetent soldier who had struggled with basic equipment. In her place moved a predator of extraordinary skill, someone whose training and experience far exceeded anything they had imagined possible. Williams felt his worldview shifting as he watched Maya systematically dismantle the enemy ambush with the kind of precision that spoke of years in elite units. Every movement, every shot, every tactical decision revealed someone who had been hiding her true capabilities behind a carefully constructed facade of incompetence. The final enemy stronghold crumbled under Maya's methodical assault. She moved through their defensive positions like smoke, appearing behind cover where no one should have been able to approach undetected. Her rifle spoke once, twice, 3 times, and the last of their attackers fell silent forever. Maya emerged from the grass 30 meters from their position, her movements now revealing the controlled grace of someone who had done this countless times before. The nervous energy was gone, replaced by the calm confidence of a professional warrior who had just completed another successful mission. Thompson stared in absolute shock as Maya approached their position. Her uniform bore patches and insignia that had been carefully hidden beneath her outer gear. The rookie facade had been completely stripped away, revealing someone whose credentials far exceeded his own. Delta Force, Williams whispered in awe, recognizing the subdued unit patch now visible on Maya's sleeve. She's fucking Delta Force. Maya reached their position and knelt beside Jenkins, her hands moving with practiced medical precision as she assessed his wound. The transformation from bumbling rookie to elite operator was so complete it seemed impossible that they could be the same person. How many times have you made assumptions about someone based on first impressions, only to discover you were completely wrong? Sometimes the most extraordinary people are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the moment when their true abilities are needed most. She began treating Jenkins with the same professional competence she had demonstrated in combat, her training evident in every movement. The sound of helicopter rotors filled the air as extraction arrived precisely on schedule. Colonel Harrison stepped down from the lead aircraft, his eyes immediately scanning the grassland littered with enemy casualties. His gaze found Maya and stopped, recognition dawning across his weathered features. Staff Sergeant Chen, the colonel said, snapping to attention and rendering a crisp salute. I should have known Delta would have assets in the field. Maya returned the salute with the same professional bearing she had hidden so carefully that morning. Sir, mission parameters required deep cover integration with conventional forces. The threat assessment proved accurate. Thompson watched in stunned silence as his commanding officer showed the level of respect typically reserved for the most elite operators in the military. The rookie he had worried about all morning was someone who outranked him in ways that mattered far more than conventional hierarchy. Jenkins looked up from his field dressing, finally understanding why Maya's medical treatment had been so expertly administered. She had probably saved more lives in combat zones than most medics would see in their entire careers. Have you ever witnessed a moment when someone's true identity completely changed how everyone around them saw the world? Sometimes respect isn't just earned, it's revealed when the mask finally comes off. Williams shook his head in amazement, realizing that every perceived mistake that morning had been carefully calculated performance art designed to maintain her cover until the mission required her true capabilities. As the helicopters lifted off from the grassland, Maya carefully adjusted her gear back to its original awkward configuration. The elite operator patches disappeared beneath her outer vest, and she resumed the nervous fidgeting that had characterized her morning performance. The transformation back to rookie status was as complete as her earlier revelation. Thompson sat across from her in the helicopter, watching in fascination as she became the bumbling soldier once again. But now he understood that every stumble, every dropped piece of equipment, every moment of apparent incompetence had been a masterfully crafted performance designed to hide her true capabilities. Jenkins caught her eye and nodded with deep respect, understanding that his life had been saved by someone whose skills far exceeded anything he had imagined possible. The brotherhood forged in combat had taken on an entirely new dimension with the knowledge of who she really was. Maya winked at Martinez and returned to fumbling with her helmet strap, the act so convincing that anyone who hadn't witnessed her performance in the grassland would never suspect the deadly competence hidden beneath the surface. This story reminds us that extraordinary people walk among us every day, often hiding their greatest strengths until the moment when those abilities are desperately needed. Share this with someone who might need to remember that everyone has hidden depths worth respecting. The squad would never look at anyone the same way again, understanding that appearances could be deceiving and that the most unassuming person might be the most capable when it truly mattered.